All right, so here we are. We've journeyed together through some pretty deep stuff, haven't we? Ancient grudges, spiritual battles, and some really intense prophecies about Israel and Iran. It's been a story filled with a lot of conflict. But now, for this final part of our explainer, we're going to switch gears and focus on a surprising message of hope.
And that's really the big question, right? After everything we've looked at, from Haman all the way to the Prince of Persia, it's so easy to just wonder if history is stuck on a loop. Is there any real hope for a future that looks different? Well, believe it or not, the Bible offers a pretty fascinating answer.
You know, so far, we've really dug into some heavy themes. We talked about that ancient grudge going way back. We've looked at the spiritual warfare that Daniel described. We've even touched on some of the dire prophecies from Ezekiel. It really feels like it's just one conflict after another, doesn't it?
But you know what? That's not where the story ends. Not by a long shot. Tucked away in the writings of one of the major prophets is this powerful, very specific message of hope. And it's this message of restoration, aimed right at the people of a region that's now part of modern-day Iran.
And that brings us to the ancient kingdom of Elam, and a prophecy from the prophet Jeremiah. Now, it's kind of like a two-part message, and the first part, well, let's just say it's pretty stern. Let's take a look.
So to really get what's going on here, we got to know where we're talking about. As you can see on this map, Elam was an ancient kingdom right in what is now southwestern Iran. This is a real place, not some made-up land. It has a deep, real history, which just makes what Jeremiah says all the more specific and powerful.
So Jeremiah kicks off his message with this really powerful image. The bow, that was everything to Elam. It was the symbol of their military power, the source of their strength, their national pride. So for God to say, I will break the bow of Elam, wow, that was a message of profound judgment.
Okay, so the key thing to get here is that this broken bow meant way more than just losing a battle. It was basically predicting this time of incredible hardship, where the people of Elam would be scattered, just dispersed from their homeland. It was a serious time of national trial and consequence.
But right when you think it's all doom and gloom, the prophecy takes this absolutely remarkable turn. This is where the whole story shifts, like dramatically, from hardship right into hope. And this is just so important to remember. In these ancient texts, judgment is hardly ever the last word. There's almost always a pivot, a moment that shows there's a much deeper purpose at play.
And boom, here it is. This is the promise. After all the hardship, after the scattering, God promises that in the latter days, He's going to restore the fortunes of Elam. He's going to bring the people back. And this is way bigger than just hitting undo on a punishment. It's this profound statement about mercy and redemption.
I love this analogy because it explains the idea so well. The source material uses this example of a parent and a child. Think about it. A parent might have to discipline a child, right? It feels necessary, but it always comes from a place of love. And that same parent is always holding out for reconciliation, for that bright future. That's the perfect picture of the justice and mercy we're seeing here.
Okay, so that was thousands of years ago. What does any of this have to do with our world today? Well, a lot of people are seeing it come to life in a way that Jeremiah himself probably could never have imagined. Now, this is an absolutely remarkable claim, and you hear it from a lot of different sources, missions organizations, researchers. Even though they face intense persecution, there's a huge spiritual movement happening inside Iran, with tons of people embracing Christianity. So for a lot of folks who study this, what's happening today is no accident. They see this incredible spiritual awakening as the beginning of that 2,500-year-old promise to restore Elam finally coming true. It's really a testament to how hope can just spring up in the most unlikely places.
And this leads us to a really, really important point. A distinction that the Bible seems to make, and one that is so relevant for us right now.
See, this message of hope from Jeremiah, it's not for a government or some oppressive regime. It's for the people. And that is such a critical difference to understand. The Bible often draws a line between the actions of a nation's leaders and the hearts of the ordinary people.
This is something we get here in Singapore, right? We really value harmony among all our different communities. Well, in that same kind of spirit, this prophecy suggests that God's love, His ultimate plan for well-being, extends to all people, including the individuals in Iran, completely separate from any political government.
So when you boil it all down, what are we left with?
Well, first, this prophecy of Elam gives us a totally different story than the usual cycle of conflict we always hear about. It's a divine promise, not of war, but of spiritual renewal. This hope is totally rooted in the idea of God's unchanging character, one that is both just and merciful. And really, it's an invitation to check out a faith that offers peace and purpose, no matter what the headlines are saying.
And really, that's the big question this whole series leaves us with. In a story that seems so defined by ancient grudges and modern-day tensions, what if the ultimate final chapter isn't about conflict at all, but about this incredible, unexpected restoration? What if hope is what truly gets the final say?